Good afternoon. It's Monday, the 20th of October. Somebody recently said to me, Charlie, you post so many things and observations and comments about the housing market, about so many different angles of it. Could you just do a summary of the whole overview? And that was also after we've had recent news about the government proposing mandatory qualifications, and that kind of thing, that the government's going to fix the housing market. And there's lots of press release about that. So in this video, which is a really unusual video, I want to share the 35 years worth of experience I've had, starting out as a city trader who was also a landlord and property investor, and then becoming a property industry technology provider for the last 25 years. And to get everyone to understand this, there is one thing and one thing only that benefits absolutely every party in the whole country and anyone involved in the housing market, and that is better liquidity, or in plain English, more transactions. Whatever prices are doing, more transactions benefits everyone, the whole country, the economy, the industry, the government, the taxpayer, movers, buyers, sellers. It is easier for everyone when there are more transactions. However, the housing market is like a rowing boat with 9 people in it, all pulling in different directions. Okay, it is misaligned incentives, and I'm going to run through all 9 of the parties. I'm going to do a brief summary of it to start with, and then go into a bit more detail, because whether you are in government, whether you are in the estate agency industry, or in any related industry to it, or whether you're trying to move house, this will help you understand A, why things are so bad, and B, why none of the proposed innovations actually help anything. The whole conversation is always about, oh, it's this one thing that's wrong with the property market, or oh, that one silver bullet solves the problem. And that is a ridiculously oversimplified way of looking at it. The housing market is by far the most complicated consumer marketplace there is, with all these different parties and different interests in it. And only when you look at it at an overview, as an overview, or from a bird's eye point of view, can you see what the problems are. The problems are multiple, and there's no silver bullet, but there are some things that can be done that will make a much bigger difference than others. Until those things are done, all of us that need to move house and want to move house and want to make a living from people moving house have got to carry on within this very difficult environment to move house, whether you are a buyer or a seller or an agent or anyone else. And before, especially new viewers, before anyone asks, well, hang on, Charlie, what the hell do you know? I have taken my 35 years of experience in this industry, and I have taken it to an agency that allowed me and said, right, show us exactly how it works when you get this right. And I have proved that when you align the incentives, everything works like clockwork, relatively speaking. Not perfect, still wrinkles. But so far, we're talking about 100% of properties sold in a short space of time zero fall throughs, and much shorter transaction times. Okay, so more transactions happening faster, and much more certainty for everyone involved, and higher fees. And you might think, if you're a seller, well, why is that good for me? Because when you're getting a higher price that's higher than the higher fee is, you don't care about that slightly higher fee. And that higher fee allows the agent to do the more complicated job of getting the house sold quickly and for a better price. And if you're a buyer saying, well, I don't like the sound of a better price, fair enough. But the point is, the buyers who are involved with this accept that, hang on, this is a free and fair market, and it's going to be quicker. And if in buying through this process, I will have less uncertainty and a better chance of actually completing within a really reasonable space of time. So under 3 months rather than 6 to 9 months. And that's life-changing in terms of reducing how much uncertainty you've got to face as a buyer. So it does benefit everyone. I've walked it, I've talked it, I've lived it, I've breathed it, I've now proved it. So for anyone, whether you are a policymaker, whether you are an industry person working with government trying to improve policy, please listen to this and factor it into your thinking so that we stop throwing good money and time after bad on policies that aren't going to help things. So let me run through the 9 different parties to these transactions and why their current incentives are wrong and what the incentive should be. And this is a bit of a rough and ready simplification, but by the end of it, I hope you'll understand. So, sellers. Most sellers are looking for the most amount of money they can get for their house, and that's all they're focused on. Now, that's a mistake. What they should be focusing on is the best chance of actually achieving a sale. And with the second priority, obviously, at the best price you can achieve. But actually, those two things go in hand. If you bring your house to the market in a way that achieves the fastest sale, you also get the best price because you've got the most competing buyers. But 90% of sellers do not listen to this, and they just want to hear a big number, cross the fingers and hope. Today's Rightmove figures prove it. The top of the ladder prices are the only ones that went up in the last month. Everything else went down. Buyers are trying to buy a home for the least amount of money possible. And you might think, well, hang on, Charlie, how can you possibly argue against that? Well, because the number one mistake buyers make is offering less than they're actually willing to pay and then losing the property to someone else. And I could go on to why that also leads to a higher chance of it falling through, but let's just leave it at that for now, okay? As a buyer, you shouldn't be looking to pay the least amount of money possible. That is an incorrect sequence of your priorities. If you want to live in a home and your priority is getting into a home, you should be looking at what gives you the best chance of actually securing the home you want at a price that you were willing to pay, not missing out because you wanted to get it cheap. One of the problems here is because the lack of transparency of how the whole process works, so buyers don't feel comfortable or confident offering their full amount, and they're so nervous about overpaying, quite rightly. Then we come on to agents, and most agents are absolutely hell-bent focused on winning the most instructions. You might think, well, hang on, Charlie, what? Of course they are. Why not? That's why so many agents are struggling, and that's why fees are so low. What you should be focusing on is the most number of transactions, and that involves not listing time-wasting sellers, and it involves launching properties in a way that creates a market for them faster, rather than just putting them on the market and hoping for 3 to 6 months that someone might come along and pay a price you can persuade the seller to accept. Okay, it is a mathematically provably self-defeating strategy to just be trying to win instructions. And both me and Christopher Watkin now are both saying this, but unfortunately, agents are unable to do what I'm teaching the agents who want to learn it, which is to win instructions with no valuation. Okay, and agents are going, well, hang on, Charlie, this sounds fantastic. Sell stuff much faster, higher fees, no fall throughs. But how do you win without evaluation? That's exactly why I'm holding these courses on November the 4th, 5th, and 6th of November, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you're an agent watching this and you haven't seen about those, The link is below. They are free events for independent owner-managed agents who want to understand how to do this and how to achieve halving deal times like the agent I've worked with has already done. Okay, so that's the correct incentive for an agent should not be big referral commissions from conveyancers or mortgage brokers, should not be the most number of properties on the market tied into long solidity contracts not selling. It should not be anything other than getting the largest number of your properties sold in the shortest space of time. That's how you make more money. I can prove it. Now we come on to the house builders. So house builders are focused, when it comes to the moving market, on just having the highest possible sticker price on their properties, right? Because unlike private sellers of homes, new house builders are focused, they are selling not because they want to move house, they are selling purely for profit. Okay, so 100% of their objective is maximizing profits, right, on the investment they made in building the house. Nothing wrong with that, but unfortunately, it did work for a while, but only because the government propped it up with Help to Buy and that kind of stuff. Now the new house building industry is in a state of collapse, especially in London and the southeast, because just chasing maximum profits isn't sustainable. We won't go into that in any more detail, but unfortunately, the other thing that house builders are doing is lobbying government for more government policies that stokes new build prices. Bad news for all of us. Then we have people, a group of people that are highly influential in the housing market, but no one really thinks about, which is the portals, right? Rightmoves and Zooplas of this world. And because of their business model, which is a fixed subscription paid by agents and house builders, okay, and they also make money from lenders as well. They've got major partnerships with the lenders, both Zoopla and Rightmove. Their incentive is to deliver the largest number of leads possible to estate agents to justify the monthly subscription that they charge. But unfortunately, this results in putting out spammy things like instant online valuation. There's no such thing. All you're doing is falling into a trap of giving your data over and those details being shared with lots of agents, right? That's one thing. Another thing is they don't care about the quality of leads. They just want to send the maximum quantity. That ends up with agents thinking, you know what, half the leads we get from Rightmove are a waste of time. We're not even going to respond to them. And of course, that leads into a very poor experience for some genuine buyers that aren't time wasters. It also leads to a lot of time being wasted for agents. So yet again, one of these 9 parties, the portals, has an incentive that doesn't align with more transactions happening. And Rightmove, who are famous for their asking price index, which today they've announced the average asking price is £371,000, when Zoopla says the average house price is £271,000 or thereabouts, like 100 grand less, like 30% less, right? But Rightmove, guess who Rightmove's second largest customer base is? You guessed it, developers, builders, housing builders, new house builders, right? And they want the highest possible prices put out there. So guess what happens? That's what happens. And that leads into sellers' expectations being too high, overpricing, overvaluing, stuff not selling, fewer transactions. Okay. So the portals are also looking at their customer base losing money because of fewer transactions. Then we have a section that most movers have never heard of called prop tech. And it's this bustling community of small tech businesses selling stuff to estate agents. And most of it is lead gen. And they say to agents, we're going to sell you our lead gen prop tech, and it's going to magically conjure up new buyers and sellers for you that otherwise you wouldn't have. And it's a zero-sum game because no amount of prop tech can increase the number of people moving. So they're all fighting over the same pool. And that's why movers are completely drowned in spam and instant valuation. Instant valuation. There's no such thing as an instant valuation. Obviously there isn't. Otherwise there wouldn't be any overvalued properties. Okay. And most prop tech, and it's not just lead gen, it's all kinds of other products that people sell to estate agents to try and help their businesses. But it's all focused around data products about justifying high valuations, and data products so that when you go into someone's house and go, look at all of our data, there's so much data. Can you see the data? Are you impressed with the data? Great, sign here. And it works. And a lot of sellers sign on the dotted line of the long solidity contract because of all the data that they're showing from this prop tech company. And there are prop tech companies out there selling data products. And the problem with these products is it makes very bad agents look quite good to the uninitiated. Okay. But the prop tech community's incentive is to justify their products to agents. And they do that by justifying leads. Almost nothing in that community actually promotes faster transactions. Some try, but unfortunately they're misguided. They don't get it right, and nothing's working. But that prop tech, right? And again, what they should be focusing on is only on things that make transactions happen more and faster, but they don't. They're focused on the opposite. Lenders. Now we're on to lenders. So we're at number 7 on the list, right? This is just a short summary. Lenders. Now, there is a belief amongst lenders, which actually has some truth to it, that house prices need to be rising in order for buyers to justify the financial decision to buy. Otherwise, it's not going to cover the interest cost of their mortgage, and therefore renting might be cheaper. So lenders perpetually pump house price news to make buyers think that prices are up, prices are up, prices are up, prices double every 10 years. And yes, your 300 grand mortgage is going to be 600 grand total payable over 30 years, but it doesn't matter because house prices will be up. That is the baseline justification for covering the cost of mortgage interest, which is, don't worry, your house price will go up and cover it. But actually, what's in lenders' interests more than this is more transactions and more mortgages. And if they didn't worry so much about house prices and worried more about making it easier for people to move, there would be more transactions, even if house prices weren't going up. But first-time buyers are just blinded by this. I must believe that house prices will go up, otherwise I wouldn't buy a home. But actually, when you look at just going, hang on a second, I don't mind paying just on a mortgage if it gets me into a home that I love and I can live there for a long time. And I don't think about it as an investment. Yeah, I'm paying interest on my mortgage. If I wasn't, I'd be paying rent somewhere else. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, right? So lenders would make more money if there were more transactions. And there would be more transactions if house prices weren't going up so much. So if lenders stopped constantly, perpetually stoking house price rises as a justification of how to cover the cost of interest on the mortgage, more people would move and they would sell more mortgages. And it's mind-blowing to me that people in an industry that you'd think would be pretty financially and numerically literate haven't figured this out. I mean, agents haven't figured it out either. Everything agents doing is leading to fewer transactions. And some people go, but hang on, Charlie, our transaction volumes are okay. No, they're not. They should be double what they are. And they would be double what they were if all these incentives were aligned. And everybody would be better off, including agents. In fact, agents first and foremost would be better off if there were more transactions. So that's lenders. We've got 2 more left. Conveyancers. Now, the conveyancing industry, like all of the others, has a spectrum of good and bad conveyancers, and the bad ones will lose you your sale by being slow to respond, and the buyer moves on because the conveyancing is just too slow. And one of the reasons that this happens a lot is because a lot of conveyancers have been suckered into paying massive referral fees to the estate agents that recommend them. Okay, and the big estate agents are the worst at this. And the conveyancers are not left over with enough money to pay people to do the job of conveyancing properly. And no, it can't be done by AI yet. Not all of it. And AI doesn't solve that problem any more than AI solves the estate agency problem. It doesn't solve that problem either. Okay. And conveyancers would, like everybody else, benefit from a larger volume of transactions and lower levels of fall throughs. But at the moment, conveyancers are competing amongst each other to get the leads from estate agents, and they go, "We'll pay you £500. No, we'll pay you £800. No, we'll pay you £1,000 commission." I'm not joking. Some of you buyers and movers are being referred to conveyancers and signing up to something, whatever it's 1,500 quid, 2,000 quid, where half or more of what you're paying your conveyancer gets kicked back to the agent. Now, there's nothing wrong with a balanced and sensible referral scheme. That's just an advertising cost. It's how the world goes around. It's a completely normal thing. But when it becomes distorted to the point that your service provider can't afford to do a good job, it becomes self-defeating. And also with the agents that are receiving those massive referral commissions, they become less motivated to sell houses. So they're giving away these low fees. And that's why big corporate agents go, "Oh, we have really low fees, low fees, low fees," and then don't even sell most of the houses that they list because they're getting these big fat referral commissions. These are all the wrong incentives leading to fewer transactions. And number 9, last but certainly not least, in fact, last but most, is the government. And the government thinks it's going to fix this by making estate agency qualifications mandatory. I'm not against estate agents having qualifications. In fact, I recommend all agents should get the qualifications that are on offer from Property Mark. Right? This is not an anti-qualification stance. It is anti-government making them mandatory. At that point, they lose any effectiveness that they might have had, any point of difference for the people that have them. And most of all, think about that list I just read out to you. Sellers, buyers, agents, yes, but house builders, portals, prop tech lenders, and conveyancers. Not only one of the people on that list is affected by mandatory qualifications, and it's not going to move the needle. It's not going to solve the problem. When I ask agents about, but it's going to make the perception of our industry look more professional. No, it won't. The movers couldn't give a stuff. Movers don't check conveyancers' credentials. They don't check the qualifications, right? They just assume that if you're in business, you can do it. So if everyone has qualifications, it actually makes them less valuable, not more. It doesn't solve any of these problems. Get qualifications. Don't wait for government to make it mandatory. Just go and get them. The government's incentive, it wrongly thinks, well, there are two, aren't there? They're, hey, we're going to make the dream of home ownership come true. You hear it every single election, every single time they fail, because no government understands how the housing market works. They just don't. The one thing they know they get from the housing market is stamp duty. Stamp duty and votes. Stamp duty, votes. Stamp duty, votes. That's the government's objective. Whereas again, if the government was to focus on transaction volumes, it would be better for them, it'd be better for stamp duty, better for the tax, and it'd be better for voters. So literally, any government that comes along and goes, right, we're going to prioritize transactions and social mobility above everything else, would be a win for the government, a win for the treasury, a win for buyers, sellers, movers, agents, and social mobility. But because they don't understand it, they're not going to do it. They're not going to scrap stamp duty. And the other thing that the government could and should do, but they won't because of the house builders, is that they should order HMRC to publish the house prices that get reported to them by every conveyancer after every transaction within 2 weeks of the transaction. HMRC possesses 100% of transaction prices, but doesn't publish them. And if they did, it would unlock transactions because it would help stop overvaluing. Overvaluing being a major problem, but not the only problem. So there we are. Sellers, buyers, agents, house builders, portals, prop tech, lenders, conveyancers, and government. 9 different groups or stakeholders in the house moving industry, right? Society as a whole, of course, is number 10. But no amount of tinkering at the edges by government is going to improve this problem. The problem can be improved by aligning incentives intelligently, which doesn't need any legislation, And the first people to do that, like the people I'm working with, like the conveyancers I'm working with, like the mortgage brokers I'm working with, and like the agents I'm working with, are following the guidance I'm giving them and going, guys, never mind the government, never mind the time wasters, do this, you'll get more transactions. And it works. This is not a theory. This is tried and tested and proven. This is why I've got agents coming to see me in Bristol, Manchester, and London on the 4th, 5th, and 6th of November. And those agents that are coming, the forward-thinking agents are going, we know that overvaluing is killing the industry. We know transaction times are too long. We want to see how these shorter transaction times are being achieved. And I'm hoping that as I can grow the number of agents, because agents are central to the solution, right? Whether anyone likes it or not, this is not a biased point of view. This is 35 years of watching that list of 9 parties, the agents are front and center of the changes that need to happen, not the government, not the lenders, the agents. This is why my company is called Best Agent, okay? Because it is the best agents out there who are going to lead the turnaround of the industry back into a thriving, healthy, buzzing, high volume, high liquidity, high social mobility industry. Okay, so the 75 or so agents I've got coming on those dates, I'm very excited about, because if I can help those guys do what Carringtons have done and start winning every instruction they talk to, getting everything under offer in 28 days, almost everything, there are a couple of exceptions, and then getting transaction times after the seller's agreed down to under 9 weeks, so less than half the national average, with no fall throughs. I mean, look at that list of things, right? Halving the transaction time, sold in 28 days, no fall throughs, and higher fees for the agent. The sellers are happy with it because they're getting such a superior result to what any other agent is doing. This is not how I make money. It is also how I'm going to make money, but this is the only way the housing market gets fixed. Intelligent agents leading the change of incentives. Okay, you change the incentives, and then when other people see, hang on a second, that works, that makes money, that saves time, everyone benefits, it should start to grow and expand out. All right, so this is why I argue against valuing being done at all. It's a waste of time, because no matter what number you're given, it's a guess and it bears no relation to the number you'll actually get for your house. Okay, so sellers should not be saying, what's my house worth? Buyers should not be saying to an agent, what should we offer? You should just make your maximum comfortable offer, your first and final one and only offer. That's it. No more. Don't overpay. No less, because you'll lose out on the property. Agents should be saying, we follow a process that gets everything sold in half the time of other agents. The first step of that process is we don't give you a valuation, because you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, need to understand that the market will determine what your house sells for, because you can't sell your house for a price that a buyer isn't paying, right? It's impossible to get more for your house than a buyer will pay. So you need to understand that. And if you don't understand that, please go on the market with Foxtons and Dexters and sit there for 12 months without selling. Okay. That's what agents need to understand. Focus on transaction volumes and speed, and your fees will go up automatically on the back of that. That's what I'm teaching. If you are an agent watching this and you haven't heard about these events, link below to the event. Have a look at it. It's a free event, by the way. But it's aimed at owner managers of independent agents first and foremost. House builders, they've got a whole world of problems. Whole world of problems that I can't help with. Other than getting your existing stock sold. If I was a house builder now, I would be saying, with all my unsold stock, I would be saying, get it sold. Just get it sold. There is no chance of prices going up anytime soon. Get it sold. I'd be instructing agents and saying, just get it sold, sold. Because new house builders who are clinging on to their stock, hoping that somehow prices are going to go up, they're really going to pay for it. They're really going to pay for it. Get out now. If you're a new house builder with unsold stuff, get it sold. Drop your prices or you won't sell it and you'll wish you had. Portals. Rightmove. I know your house building clients won't let you do it, but if you were able to stop basing your house price index on the highest possible initially launched asking price only of new stock and change from average to median, that would boost transaction volumes because it would help alleviate overvaluing. That's what you could do. If I was at Rightmove, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be helping. That would help customers. It would stop making your house price index numbers look so ridiculously overinflated. Prop tech. Oh God, there's a whole community of prop tech products that just celebrate and cheer overvaluing, automatic valuation, overvaluing. And guys, when your clients are going bust because they're not doing transactions, this is not the way to go about it. Your prop tech should focus, as mine always has, on speeding transactions and benefiting buyer, seller, and agent. Lenders. Shouldn't have to be saying this to lenders. If more people buy houses, you'll sell more mortgages. It's that simple. Can't believe that isn't obvious to you guys. I can't believe it. You need to rethink your house price indices as well. You need to stop pretending the house prices will always go up and covering up the fact that they don't, and just say, hey, house prices do what house prices do. We're just here to give you a mortgage to buy one. You will sell more mortgages. Conveyancers. The first thing a conveyancer should do, like most conveyancers, turn away sellers who ring up and say, I would like to prepare my house for sale before I bring it to the market. Conveyancers go, no. Give us a call back when you've got an offer. Idiots. You are missing out on the opportunity to actually add value to your selling client by helping them achieve a faster sale at a better price by bringing their house to the market in a more attractive way to buyers. You are a big dum-dum if you're a conveyancer that turns away sellers who want to get their properties ready up front. And I know that you're out there because I get sellers all the time saying, I rang these conveyancers. They said, no, no point coming to us till you've got a buyer. And I get that some conveyancers are going, they're going to be on the market for a month. It's much too early. But again, that's because of the overvaluing problem. It's just a cyclical problem, right? Break the cycle, conveyancers. Help your sellers get sold faster by getting their property ready and coming to the market sooner. Then the government won't need to mandate upfront information. There's nothing, by the way, the idea of upfront information is an eminently sensible one. And if you're an agent not doing it, then you're hurting your own business anyway. My problem is government making it mandatory. That won't help. That will backfire like it did last time. HIPs, remember home information packs in the early 2000s? Anyone remember that absolute fiasco? They're just going to try and do that again. And government, please leave the housing market alone. Tell HMRC to publish their house prices every month when they publish transaction volumes so that we can get rid of overvaluing, and scrap stamp duty for all home moves if it's a primary residence for a UK citizen. Doesn't matter what the price is. Scrap stamp duty. Tax them on, if you're going to do an annual property tax, maybe do that, or council tax, whatever. That won't stop people moving. Stamp duty is like stop duty. It's like a stop tax. Scrap stamp duty for primary home moves, and the money that you lose from stamp duty by scrapping it will be more than replaced by the uptick in tax revenues from all the other taxes, corporation tax, VAT, PAYE, lowering the welfare bill because of the increase in jobs on the back of nothing boosts the economy faster than housing market coming back to life. All right, guys. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry I didn't get into the comments. This wasn't the video for that. But hopefully that's helpful. It was a very unprepared, quick and dirty, but I hope it helps. If you're an agent watching this, an independent agent watching this, and you haven't heard about the Best Agent No Valuation events, Tuesday the 4th of November at the Worsley Park Country Club outside Manchester, Tuesday the 4th of November there, 9:30. Wednesday the 5th of November, Ashton Gate in Bristol, 9:30. And London, 9:30 at the Novotel and Hammersmith on Thursday the 6th of November. Details below. If you're an agent watching this and you want to come, email events@bestagent.co.uk and I will explain to you exactly how the agents I'm working with are now achieving higher conversion rate at the pitch, much faster time to under offer on everything, much shorter transaction times, higher fees, 2% or more now, and no fall throughs. If that's not worth risking a day of your time for, I don't know what is. Have a good one, guys.